Hey, running friends. Welcome to the Wrinkled Runner podcast. I'm Sherry, the Wrinkled Runner. I'm over 50 and I love to run wherever I go, but Buffalo, New York is my home. If you are looking to start to run or you're an older runner, this podcast is especially for you, so subscribe now. I love to help people get running and keep running. Does running in the heat change whether your body uses carbs or fat for fuel? On today's episode, I'm exploring the notion that I was introduced to in the Weather Channel's Run Index. In notes on the science behind the scale of when to run, under the temperature section, the app talks about outside temperatures and the body's use of carbs or fat as fuel. They state, higher temperatures make our body use up more energy to cool you down. You'll also use fluids more rapidly. Lower temperatures can convert your body's fuel source from less fat consumption to more carb consumption. The body chooses burning carbs, which is what your glycogen stores are made from, as the first resort for burning fuel during intense exercise. This is why we carb load before a long race such as the marathon and take carbs with us during the run. Fat is burned at a rate of 50% or more as the fuel source during rest or low-intensity exercises. That is, exercise that uses less than 65% of your aerobic capacity. So if you've ever been on a cardio machine at the gym like the treadmill or elliptical, a lot of them have a monitor that will show you whether you are in the fat-burning zone or cardio zone or, whatever it's telling you. That 50% or more rate at a less than 65% aerobic capacity is where that zone parameter is coming from. Even during higher intensity exercise, fat will be burned and the body will switch to that when the stores are low. But the body really wants to use carbs, which is why we can hit the wall, so to speak, if our glycogen stores are depleted. Glycogen storage is increased by consuming carbs. So both fat and carbs are used in exercise, but the body uses its fuel in different ratios. So based on a study that was published in the Journal of Applied Physiology, Nutrition, and Metabolism, those ratios are altered depending on the outside temperature. So this study showed that a higher proportion of carbs is burned in hot weather. So based on this notion, Runner's World magazine recommends that you plan to consume a bit more carbs in hot weather training versus in cooler temps. I'll link to the study in the show notes for those of you who'd like to see it and can maybe read journalese better than I can. I think in the weather app, the information that they're talking about comes from how quickly our bodies use up carbs in the heat. During hot weather, our glycogen is depleted faster, so they will then turn to the fat in our bodies as fuel. During a run that may be a bit longer but isn't really intense, such as a run walk or a very slow jog, the fat stores can fuel that without hitting the wall, so to speak. Since the carb storage doesn't go down as fast in the cooler temps, you're using those carb stores for a longer period of time. So in a roundabout way, I can sort of see what they are trying to say, but I think they could be a little more clear because based on how they're wording it, it almost sounds like they're saying the opposite of what they're finding is true. And I've read the sentence 1,000 times to see if I'm just really confused, which is a really big possibility because I'm not a very sciencey person, but I feel like they're almost saying the opposite of what I'm finding out from research is the truth. I covered the app in detail at the wrinkledrunner.com blog, and so I'll link to that down in the show notes so you can see what the Run Index looks like. It's actually a very useful tool. Today, as I'm recording this, the temperature is 88 degrees and it feels like 95 outside. So the app is wisely telling me that there's a heat warning and it's too severe outside to safely go for a run. Whatever is the conclusion to the carb versus fat and heat notion, if you're going to be running in hot weather, you need to give your body time to acclimate to it. Bodies need time to get used to higher temps, so make sure you're adjusting accordingly by going slower, starting your run hydrated, and staying that way throughout. Your body can adapt if you're smart about it. Right now, we're going through kind of a heat wave in Buffalo, and we've been running very, very slowly in these temperatures and having to walk. But theoretically, our bodies should be able to adapt to that and are getting better at it every time that we go out and do a slow run. So that next week when we're in South Carolina visiting my daughter and grandchildren, we shouldn't have so many issues running in the heat down there, even though we will still take it very slow and take water with us on the run. So your body can adapt if you're smart about it. Going all out in hot weather can become a medical emergency, especially for those of us who are recreational runners or older or beginners. The best time to run is actually probably in the mornings because the temps are a little bit cooler, and even things like a sidewalk or roadway that's been sitting in the sun all day can make a run hotter because of the reflection of the heat that's been absorbed by them during the day. So the fact that it's been dark all night can actually contribute to a more comfortable run, something I hadn't really ever thought about. Last week, I told you about a website that is new to me and that can help you decide how to dress for a run depending on weather conditions. It's called dressmyrun.com. And the site tells you the temperature, the humidity level, the UV index number, wind speed and direction, and precipitation. Underneath all this, it breaks down what you should wear if you decide to run. It doesn't tell you whether you should run or not. And like I said earlier today, it's just too dang hot to risk heat-related health issues today. So you are still going to have to use your good judgment on days that are extremely hot or extremely cold. It's a good little tool, though, and I'm always a bit confused when it's like in the 45 to 55 degree range with what to wear, because sometimes like if it's really sunny outside and 55, it can actually feel really hot. But if it's 55 and it's cloudy and it rained the night before, I can be cold and need to wear long sleeves or even a jacket. So it's a neat tool to kind of go look at and check out if you have confusion over what you need to wear or what you should wear in different temperatures. So finding this site and being able to share it with you has given me a new idea for the podcast, though. It's just a little thing, but every week I'm going to try and find a new site about running to let you know about. So don't forget to join me next week. I'll be sharing another site with you, and I'll be talking more about running in the heat. This is kind of turning into a series, and I'll link you to another running website to add to your online resources. If you have any sites that you enjoy that I could check out, please let me know. I love finding new information for myself and for all my listeners. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you know another runner who could benefit from today's topic, go ahead and share it. Do you have any running questions? You can ask me. Email me at sherry@wrinkledrunner.com, and if I can't answer your question, I will do the research to find the answer and share it with you. The questions I get from listeners like you help me develop episodes, so please don't be shy. You can sign up for my once-a-month newsletter using the link provided so that you can have all the Wrinkled Runner resources from the past month all in one place. I also have opened up my virtual coaching in addition to coaching one-on-one with those in the Buffalo, New York area. So head to my coaching page on the Wrinkled Runner website, which I will, of course, link to, and check out how we may be able to work together. Until next Monday, thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the run.